Guys, here on the channel, you guys know I keep it as real as humanly possible. I don't ever try to lie to you guys for the benefit of anybody, not even myself. You guys know if I have complaints about a game, especially a game like Call of Duty, you know that it's truthful, it's not me just hating for attention or anything like that. And the same is true when I try to recommend anything to you guys or tell you something like XDefiant is actually fun. It's not just for people to agree with me. I say it because I genuinely feel it's the truth. And as you can see by the gameplay, I am playing the open beta for XDefiant just like I played the closed beta a few months ago. And just right off the bat, let me tell you guys, I am having a pretty good time on the beta right now. And if you haven't played it yet, I would highly suggest you at least try it out. And you know, this isn't going to be a video so much reviewing XDefiant. I will talk about XDefiant and the new updates that have come to this and what my overall experience is towards the middle and end of the video. But for the main portion of this video, I just need to tell you guys, XDefiant has the perfect opportunity to do something crazy against Call of Duty right now. I play a lot of Call of Duty because that is my bread and butter FPS, but over the last few years, I've seen nothing but horrible issues just diminish the quality of what I used to love as a franchise. And year after year, there's just always these weird ass decisions by the developers and by the publishers, and trust me, we'll talk about Activision in a minute, but I think everybody can agree, and if you don't agree, I think you're honestly just fucking lying, or you're just a blind gooch licker. Call of Duty the last 4 years, including MW 2019, have all been significant drop-offs in overall multiplayer experience. I'm not talking about the quality of the gunplay, or the smoothness of the game, or the audio, or the campaign, or even fucking Warzone. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about the core multiplayer enjoyment. And you can tell me I'm wrong, but I genuinely believe that every single game that we've had since MW 2019 has just not been very fun. And over here on XDefiant, you know, I played the closed beta a few months ago. I had a pretty good time, but I also had my fair share of feedback and constructive criticism. I didn't really talk any shit because XDefiant doesn't have 14 years of back-to-back games to look back on and improve on, and so I cut them some slack like anybody else would. And let me tell you, right now in the open beta, I've seen a lot of these improvements. From some of the feedback that a lot of the community had, the developers have actually listened to a lot of the issues that we were having, and that's simply not something you see in Call of Duty nowadays. It's not just about the gameplay just being fun, because it simply is. The developers actually listen. And I know that Sledgehammer last year listened to the whole dead silence and red dots on the radar, which is fine, that's good basic communication and just listening, but Vanguard was just not a good game overall. And then after that, we got MW 2019 Part 2, which was overhyped to all shit. And let me tell you, even though that game had incredible sales, the drop-off that game had instantly right after launch is something that I have never seen in Call of Duty history. And the reason I am making today's video is because XDefiant has the perfect opportunity to take advantage of all of the nonsense that's happening in Call of Duty and with Activision. And I'm not saying XDefiant is gonna kill Call of Duty, I've never said that, ever. All I'm saying is XDefiant has the opportunity to take a large portion of the player base away from Call of Duty and onto something that's actually enjoyable. And once again, I am not comparing XDefiant to like Black Ops 2 or to Black Ops 3 or to the original MW2 or COD 4. No, if we're being honest, those games are better than XDefiant. But if I'm comparing XDefiant in terms of enjoyability and actual fun compared to MW 2019, Black Ops Cold War, Vanguard, and MW 2019 Part 2, and soon to come MW 2019 Part 3, I'm telling you with complete honesty, XDefiant shits on these games. And that's not me trying to gooch lick XDefiant, even though I do feel like there's been a lot of improvements to the game. In fact, what I'm trying to tell you guys is, it's not difficult to make a better game than anything post MW 2019. It's really not. First-person shooters are some of the most basic generic games to play and to have a good time on. You just don't need to fill your game with a bunch of bullshit like microtransactions, with crazy ass ass SBMM systems. You don't need these algorithms. You don't need developers that stick to their quote unquote vision, and anytime there's any feedback or constructive criticism towards it, you just ignore your community. No, you don't need to do any of that. You can have the bare bones skeleton of an FPS games and just listen to the feedback that your community is giving you, and I guarantee you, even if your community is small, they're gonna enjoy your game, and in that sense, it's gonna be a success. It doesn't need to pop off in sales and have the most sales of the year and beat Call of Duty and quote unquote kill Call of Duty. You don't need to do that. You just need to have a good, enjoyable game. And comparing it to the last 4 years of COD, that shouldn't be a difficult task at all. Those games fucking suck. So as much as I like XDefiant, please also just understand that the bar is extremely low due to Call of Duty's poor ass games over the last couple of years. And let me also just say this, if you don't think that Activision feels threatened, you're simply lying to yourself. Every single time there's news about XDefiant, the Call of Duty Twitter account starts spam tweeting about whatever the fuck they want. I remember when XDefiant got Fooly announced for all of the content they're trying to bring in for the first year of the game, and all of these updates from Mark Rubin, and then the Call of Duty account started spam tweeting about Black Cell, and trying to show off how cool the operators were for $30 fucking, no COD points allowed. And even right now that the beta is live for XDefiant, Call of Duty actually tweeted out, an action-packed weekend featuring new Season 4 maps is ahead. Enjoy hashtag MW 2019 Part 2 multiplayer for free starting June 22nd. Guys, if you don't think this is a desperate grab at trying to get people away from XDefiant, you're just lying to yourself. Activision is threatened, and they should be, because XDefiant is doing something that Call of Duty could never, at least not in the last 4 years, and that is having developers that actually fucking listen. It doesn't matter if the criticism is respectful or disrespectful, if the message is clear from the overwhelming majority of your community. Cater to that. Make changes towards that. I guarantee you that if Call of Duty had just done that since MW 2019, when we were telling them, hey, you know what? Getting rid of the minimap in its entirety is fucking stupid. They bring in the minimap, but guess what? There's no red dots on it. And then we give them the feedback. Hey, give us red dots. Hey, give us ninja as a perk. Hey, lower the footstep volume. Hey, make better fucking maps because these maps all suck. I guarantee you that if the developers simply listened to any of the feedback that we had dating back to MW 2019, we would not be having this conversation about XDefiant possibly being the quote-unquote Call of Duty killer. The fact people even think this game could be the COD killer just speaks to how shitty Call of Duty has been. Call of Duty has always been number one at the top of fucking everything, especially in FPS titles, since like 2006 or 7. And to now in the present day being outclassed by a game like XDefiant by Ubisoft, when this is supposed to be your most advanced Call of Duty of all time, you know, Call of Duty 2.0, the new generation of Call of Duty, it's fucking embarrassing. And just aside from the game sucking, let's talk about Activision. Activision has had scandal upon scandal, controversy after controversy every fucking week. There's already so many people who are not trying to support Call of Duty or Activision anymore. I guarantee you a lot of these people, they're at least gonna try out XDefiant. The shit is free after all. You'd be simply naive and ignorant to believe that nobody is going to switch over to XDefiant. I guarantee you there's gonna be a lot of people that do. And that doesn't mean Call of Duty's gonna die. All that means is we're gonna force Activision's hand to actually start doing shit. I mean, look what they're tweeting already, like I just showed you. All of it, just fucking bullshit. I mean, Call of Duty's Twitter account is blocking the XDefiant news account. Guys, if you don't believe that Activision is at the very least a little threatened by XDefiant, you're simply lying. When I played the closed beta for XDefiant, yeah, I had fun, but there was some major issues with that beta. There was some significant input lag with the controller on PS5. It felt really clunky. The servers were not that good. The hit detection sucked. The netcode was not very good at all. Now that I'm playing the open beta, a lot of that shit has been fixed. And going back to the perfect opportunity that XDefiant has, if I'm not mistaken, they're planning on releasing this game sometime in the late summer. I would assume hopefully around like August, September, maybe October latest. And then MW 2019 Part 3 comes out in November. I honestly think that's best case scenario for XDefiant. Like I said, the game in its base form right now is already fun, seeing as how there's gonna be more content at launch and there's even more content coming for Season 1, 2, 3, and 4 and onwards. We all know how Call of Duty launches, guys. We're not ignorant to this. MW 2019 Part 3's launch is gonna be a fucking mess, just like MW 2019 Part 2's launch. You guys have heard me talk about this before. There's so many moving parts to what makes a good Call of Duty game, and the last 4 years have just not done many of those very well at all, and XDefiant's just coming out at a perfect time. And I'm not saying again that Call of Duty is gonna die to XDefiant, but all I'm saying is, for how enjoyable XDefiant is and how not enjoyable I predict MW 2019 Part 3 to be, XDefiant clearly has the upper hand, and no, it's not gonna outsell Call of Duty. That's not happening anytime fucking soon. All the people that are hyping up XDefiant are literally just talking about how it feels like a good arcade shooter and how the developers actually listen. It's crazy how easily satisfied gamers are, and the fact that the last 4 Call of Duties have just not done that, it's fucking crazy. It just speaks to how shitty the franchise has become. Let me tell you guys, I'm having a good fucking time on XDefiant, not having a good time on COD. I've barely played it in the last month. MW 2019 Part 2 got boring after like the first month, and how shitty the content flow was every single season. In my opinion, XDefiant's maps are already good enough to be just the way they are. If you're adding more and they're matching the quality of the ones that we have right now, not in terms of sales, but in terms of enjoyability, XDefiant is gonna shit all over MW 2019 Part 3. And there's no doubt in my mind that it could do that. But that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. If you haven't tried out XDefiant, I don't know what you're doing, but let me know your thoughts and opinions on this down below. And if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with my newest videos. And yeah, guys, it's been the boy Fooly. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out of here. Toodles. It's been a